A new book is shedding light on a little-known Nazi plot that could have changed the entire course of history if it had been successful. The Nazi Conspiracy by authors Brad Meltzer and Josh Mensch gives a harrowing account of the Nazis' audacious plan to assassinate U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin in one fell swoop. It centers around the 1943 summit in Tehran, where the three world leaders would meet face to face to hammer out an ambitious strategy to defeat the Nazi regime and save the world. And New York Times bestselling author Brad Meltzer joins us now. Brad, great to have you back on the show. So tell us about this scenario that didn't happen but could have.
Yeah, this is the moment in 1943. We're at the height of the war. And it's where Joseph Stalin wants us to invade continental Europe. He's being decimated by the Nazis. He can't handle, obviously, what's going on. We're sending munitions, we're sending supplies. But what he wants is us to invade. And FDR realizes this is the moment we got to get the big three together. Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, look each other in the eye and make a plan about troop movements, about supplies, about morale. And it's in Tehran, Iran, of all places. And FDR is in the middle of it because Churchill and Stalin hate each other. So to set up the plot, obviously here's FDR's motorcade is coming down the center of the city street. Everyone's looking, they're craning their necks. They want to see the president. President's waving back from the motorcade. But here's what no one knows. That's not the president in the motorcade. It's actually a Secret Service decoy. The real FDR is hidden across town. He's ducked down in the back of a beat-up sedan, and he's racing through the side streets because they're worried that there's a Nazi assassin who's about to murder him. And I just ruined chapter one of the Nazi conspiracy, but that's chapter one for you.
That sounds harrowing.
But you say on the eve of the summit, the Nazis parachuted a team of assassins into Tehran, and some were captured. But while the summit was going on, you say 6 were still on the loose.
That's the amazing part. What happens as soon as FDR arrives at the meeting, Mike Riley, who's the head of Secret Service at the time, says to him, listen, we got word of a plot to kill you. And it's the Russians who find that plot. It's the NKVD, the precursor to the KGB. They say, we've captured, there's about 30 parachutists who have come in the middle of the night. There are 6 still on the loose. We don't know where they are and what do you want to do. And he's the one who assesses the threat. And FDR believes him, obviously. Winston Churchill believes him. They start making plans. They start making moves. What none of them know, that not only is that happening, but at the same time, as FDR moves into the Soviet embassy, the embassy is also being bugged. So there's microphones in the walls. There's microphones in the furniture. It's one of the great untold moments of World War II, and involves, listen, we all know FDR and Winston Churchill, but there's people you've never heard of, Nazi assassins like Otto Skorzeny, who is brought to Adolf Hitler's wolf slayer and, is said to him, hey, I have an amazing mission for you. And in that moment, Adolf Hitler looks at Otto Skorzeny, he's like, you're my guy. And now they've got, they have a guy, they have a man on the inside in Tehran, and the big three are arriving. It's an unbelievable, tantalizing target for the Nazis.
Is this a movie yet? I mean, need I even ask?
I mean,
this is incredible.
It should be optioned. And talk about how did you learn about this conspiracy? I've done a lot of reading about World War II, done a lot of reading about the summits, the big 3 summits. How did you learn about this, and what was the most surprising thing you uncovered through your research?
I found it. I love the footnotes, Joe. You know me long enough to know that. And I found it in this tiny little article. It was barely half a page. And I was like, what's this story? And Josh mentioned, my co-author, went down the rabbit hole. But the story that was amazing is this story about Otto Skorzeny. It blew me away because what happens is Otto is this guy who is a special operations guy for Hitler. And Hitler brings all of his special ops guys into a big room, stands them shoulder to shoulder. And Adolf Hitler, in his secret headquarters, quizzes them with one question. He says, what do you think of Italy? And all the special ops guys are like, oh, Italy's on our side. We love fighting with them. But Otto Skorzeny gambles and he says, I'm from Austria, my Fuhrer. And he knows that Hitler's from Austria, and the true Austrian resents Italy because in World War I, that Austria lost a key part of itself to Italy, and Italy never gave it back. And that's when he says, "You're the person." I never knew this story. And you know, to me, Joe, the key question is why tell the story? And for me, when Charlottesville happens and we see Nazis marching in Charlottesville, we all wring our hands and we say, "Oh, how could this happen in America? How do we have this happen here?" But we found when we were researching it that in World War II, there was a Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City, 20,000 Nazis cheering together. There's a big banner of George Washington surrounded by swastikas. The first speaker at the rally says, you know, if George Washington were alive today, he'd be friends with Adolf Hitler. So why are we still fighting Nazis? Because they never left. They've been here since World War II. And, you know, for me, there's a recipe for authoritarians. And we see it all the time, right? You have a charismatic leader. In this case, Adolf Hitler sees these native white, you know, Germans who are suffering economically. And Hitler says that thing that we see decade after decade. Those people are the cause of your problems. And we know that that's code, right? For Adolf Hitler, he's talking about the Jewish people. But we've seen it with the black community, the gay community, the immigrant community, pick your minority community. And what to me the book is about when you read it and you'll see it is that the American dream to me is not about making money. It's about when you see someone being bullied, when you see them being picked on, you use your voice, you speak up and you say, enough, enough. That's the great lesson of World War II.
The new book is The Nazi Conspiracy, The Secret Plot to Kill Roosevelt, Stalin, and Churchill. Brad, congratulations on this book. Brad Meltzer.
Just looks great. Thank you so much,
Looks
Brad.
amazing. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this. Thanks for coming on this morning. We appreciate it.